So, hi guys, how are you guys doing? Um, today, today I decided to speak to you and with you about um, is Sasquatch a great ape, the relict hominid that some of our scholars, some of our scientists that are on the community speak about. Uh, is Sasquatch something from another planet? Is Sasquatch a spirit? Is Sasquatch interdimensional? We are going to talk a little bit about that, a little bit about the hypothesis of being just an animal, just an ape-like creature. And I understand that most of the scientists in the community go along these hypotheses because it's their time careers. They depend on these hypotheses to be respected by their peers, by the places where they teach, by the universities, by all of the scientific community. And even them believing in Sasquatch are being ridiculed. If you think that by you thinking that Sasquatch is paranormal, you are being ridiculed by the people that believe in the ape theory. They are also being ridiculed by the establishment. So they are doing to the paranormal hypothesis what other people and the scientific community are doing to them. So this is cyclical and it makes no sense because we should approach this as science, and science should not have beliefs, and science has beliefs. And in science is also controlled by the universities, by the establishment, and so on and so on. So people like Dr. Jeff Meldrum is probably the most known scientist that supports the existence of Sasquatch, Bigfoot. He is a well-known anthropologist. He has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledges on human bipedalism. And whenever I have the opportunity to listen to him talking about human bipedalism and how Sasquatch um, has such well grounded proof in casts and the anatomy of the foot, I always try to see if there is another interview, another documentary about Dr. Jeff Meldrum regarding what he knows, because he knows a lot about that, and we should not disregard that. However, by being a scientist, many people and uh, all the other stuff apart that I hear on the community about these people having some disagreements with them, some not so good. But I'm not going to speak about that. I don't have anything against Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and I'm only addressing the scientific and the facts and the scientific proof that there is about Sasquatch. So Dr. Jeff, I think, is not a supporter of the paranormal and the supernatural Sasquatch. And I'm going to speak how on how it is not even logical for him to say this, because he speaks a lot about how this planet can support an hominin and how a lot of species can live in this planet without being seen, and that it's true but partially true. There's a part of that conversation that I think is biased in saying that, because he wants to fit this these notions, these semantics to what he believes and not what is really the reality. So North America, as you can see here on Google Earth, as the eastern part is well forested, so lots of woods, but lots of people, lots of density. The Canada, it's even better for Sasquatch because you have huge extensions of forests, and the density of the population is lower. On the west coast, you have more mountains. You have some good forests, but not all the terrain is well forested. You can see the Washington State and Oregon State, at least half of Oregon State and half of California, it's dry land. So the potential for a big humanoid, so above 200 pounds, big humanoid with 2 meters tall, so above 6 feet tall and 200 kilograms. So 200 kilograms, I was speaking about 200 pounds, so not 200 pounds, probably 300 and above. So there's, by having not such a covered habitat, the hypothesis of such a being to be around, it's much less, because you don't have the places and the extension of habitat and the low human density to not be seen. But if you go to and see all the reports that are in North America, the reports are more and more and more. There are thousands of them, and mostly and almost distributed to all range of the United States, to all states. If you put that theory, I could believe that the planet Earth has a lot of forest for them to be not seen, but you have to place them in, for example, in Amazon. You see the size of Amazon when you compare it here in northern Brazil, when you compare it to North America, the Amazon alone is almost the size of all the states of continental North America. So places like these have a huge potential for species to be discovered still. If you look at Africa, the biggest continent on this planet, and in here it is represented at the real scale, not the scale that you see on the Mercator maps, and that put North America and the Northern Hemisphere much bigger than what it is. So here you can compare how even just North Africa and the Sahara Desert, it's almost the size of the United States. And you can see that in the center of Africa, in Democratic Republic of Congo and Gabon, Congo, northern Angola, south of Cameroons, there's a huge amount of equatorial and rainforest. And this is the place where the most of gorillas live and most of chimpanzees live. So in places like this, there is a potential of a being like Sasquatch to be still to be found and to be discovered by science. If you see the other parts of Europe has some forested areas, but mainly into the north, so to Sweden, to Norway, that have low population density areas. If you believe in what if you believe that Sasquatch is also in the UK is one of the biggest density areas in population in the world. Not many forests, so a lot of edges, lots of green pastures, so agricultural land and not untouched primeval forests. Russia has a lot of potential, mostly in Siberia. Yeah, it's a huge country. And the Himalayas and India, but also the big forests, as you can see, there are mainly in the Ecuador area of Africa and the Equator area of South America. These are the biggest land masses that have the biggest untouched forest, that have the ability to to discover some species of animals in the future. And I don't know, maybe someone can correct me, but Dr. Jeff Meldrum doesn't talk a lot about Europe. He certainly probably is not talking about UK, but because by his standards, he does not believe that Sasquatch is in the UK. By his standards, Sasquatch has only the possibility to live in Africa, in Americas, in the South Asia, so like the Orangutang, the Yeren in China, maybe the Yowie in Australia, because Australia is also very unpopulated, so huge amounts of area without people. And by his standards, not the United States and Canada. But it makes no sense, people, because you probably remember that you could even manage to extinguish the wolf in North America in the last century, but you couldn't even found a corpse of a Sasquatch. So doesn't that make you think that there's something wrong in this picture? There's something wrong. And I hear a lot, I hear Dr. Meldrum speaking about this and speaking about how in other parts of the world you can have, even in North America, that bears, there are lots of bears and there are cougars, but they manage to be outside of the human eyes. And how many of you have going on the woods, on the mountains, on the national parks, have seen a cougar or have seen a black bear? So Sasquatch could easily be hiding in those forests of the world. And with my experience in wildlife management and surveying, I will tell you, I don't have anything to say about Sasquatch anatomy and footprints. That's the area of Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and I respect him. I respect him a lot. As I said before, I love to hear his talks, and when he speaks about the real anatomy of the footprint. I love to hear him and to learn. I learn from that because that's not the area of my expertise. But wildlife behavior and distribution is one of the areas that I have studied, that I currently study. Even if it's species that I'm not researching, I'm not really working with. So let's see. Let me just show you guys. Okay. So American black bear. You all know in North America, sorry, because I have two screens, I'm going to look at what I'm doing. You know that in North America, there's one of the most known species. It's the American black bear. And Dr. Jeff Meldrum usually, as I told you before, he usually says that, how many of you have seen a black bear? And he says that for you guys to understand that that could be also the same case with Sasquatch, but I'm going to show you it is not. So this is iNaturalist platform. It's a citizen application that even you could have on your phone if you have a sighting of an animal. It could be like a snail, it could be a mountain lion, it could be a fish, a plant. You can put it on iNaturalist with a photo. If you know what it is, you can identify it. The platform has also some AI, almost AI abilities to identify it for you, although sometimes and most of the times is wrong. But um, if it's wrong, there's also a community around the application online that is always surveying the application and almost acting like regional coordinators or people with interest in some data in some areas in some animals. They are always checking, so they can help you and they can fix the errors. So but there's some part of the data that is put in these type of platforms of citizen science. Some of the data it's not completely right. Some have to be revised and to be fixed. Okay, but I'm going to show you guys. So the American black bear, the Ursus americanus, it's the Latin name, and I'm going to show you here. Total observations on iNaturalist are 46,672. So the black bear, some type of scat of footprints of a photo, any type of a sighting that anyone wanted to put on this platform, they have done it, and there are 46,000 plus of them. So it is not like Dr. Jeff Meldrum said to you guys that most people don't see black bear. As you can see, there are a lot of citizens like you guys seeing black bear in North America. And on this histogram, in this graphic, you can see it history. And from 2001 to 2009, the curve of sightings was very plain. And then it intensified from there on till the days of today because of phones, because everyone now doesn't. 10 years ago, not everyone had a camera, but now everyone has a phone, and with the phone, they can photograph and film everything, although with low quality. So if you want to film a footprint, if you want to film a plant or photograph a plant, is easy. If you want to photograph a cougar, a bird flying, or a few hundred yards away, it's very difficult and very noisy and very lousy footage. But if you can manage to see it on the photo, you can put it on the app, no problem. So this generates these 46,000 plus observations, generate a map like this one. You see the distribution of the North American black bear, and mostly, as you can see, on the East Coast, on the West Coast, associated with forests. Some people say that wherever you can find black bear, you can find Sasquatch, but it's mainly because of the forest variable. So they live on forests, although you can have Sasquatch also living in most open places like New Mexico, but you can also have bears doing that. You can say the same about mountain lion. So 9,000 observations of mountain lions, and the graphic shows you the increasing of observations. Oh, sorry. Can show you the increase of observations in the last years, and they can show you the map. So lots of observations. So this is mostly put by citizens, not by researchers, although researchers can also use the platform and put their data there, although it's not very usual. They usually go and see what other people are doing and not putting their data because they want to publish their data, or their data is private, or it belongs to the university. So mostly citizens and researchers that are doing on their own, and they are financing their own research. Yes, they can put it here, but generally not universities, because the data, it's not public, at least in the first years, in the first years of publication, or after the publication of the data. So you can see the map. You see, even in Brazil, a lot of people using iNaturalist and putting their observations. So 9,000, almost 10,000 total observations of mountain lions in all America, continental South and North America. I've heard Dr. Jeff Meldrum also using tigers to explain this. How many of you have seen tigers, and how rare are tigers even in forests, like Siberia? And I'm going to show you. So tigers, there are at least 1,000, so 415 observations of citizen science putting tigers. And I'm not counting here because I can manage the filter of the I can manage the filter of the app and the map, and I can show also captive animals, but I'm not putting captive animals here, just wild observations. And you can see the distribution map of the tiger here. So in this you can see Siberian tigers. So here on the distribution map of Siberian tiger in Russia, so to the north of North Korea and South Korea, you have a subspecies of tiger that is the Siberian tiger, the biggest of the felines, even bigger than the African lion. Some males can reach 300 kilograms. I don't know how many pounds, probably 900 pounds, 800 pounds. So they are huge beasts. And you can see that citizen science is also using and managing to show you guys the distribution of the Siberian tigers. Whenever you hear someone say to you that there are huge land masses, huge forests where other animals are not seen, that's not true. That it's really not true. And the last years, with the advance of software, with the advance of gametrail cameras, and also those gametrail cameras being so much less expensive. They are so much cheaper than what they were 10 years ago. Now even anyone can manage to buy a Chinese gametrail camera by $50, so 50 euros, for 45 euros you can buy a cheap Chinese camera. It's not the best. It does not going to give you the best results and the best image, but they function. So I'm going to show you also so let me show you this footage from this trail camera. Eastern Siberia, Eastern Russia, Siberian tiger. Asian black bear or Tibetan black bear. The same camera. You see the white collar. And Siberian leopard. So two big cats, one brown bear, one bear, just in one camera. And you may say, oh, but they were lucky. That's just one camera. I'm going to show you another video. Okay, Siberian forest. Another tiger. Beautiful animal. You see the vegetation? Red squirrel. It's temperate forest, like any forest near you guys in North America, in the eastern side or in Europe. So this is a brown bear. So they have 2 species of bears there, 2 species of big cats, and they are catching them. Guys, it's never been so easy and so cheap to 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 find and to track these species like it's nowadays. These kind of cameras, they can run from $500 to $45, and the cheaper ones, Chinese ones, they do the same, although they are not as reliable. The image is not so good, but you can find one, a Chinese version for 45 euros, $45, and it shows you what surrounds your garden, what surrounds your environment, the woods where you walk. It's easy, but Sasquatch is not being captured. And some of you, like I have been hearing in some videos and in some talks, some podcasts, they tell, oh, because Sasquatch is intelligent, is also an hominid, is so intelligent, almost as human beings. So I'm going to show you what's very intelligent, and it's still being captured on gametrail cameras. Humans. So this is a hunter, and it doesn't know that he's being filmed. It's IR, infrared during the night. It doesn't know he's trespassing. It doesn't know that the property owner is capturing him on film. Because humans do, and they have a variable that it's called error, and animals also do some errors when they are being catched, when they are being hunted, when they are being poached. They are doing that. They are because they made an error. They let them being captured. They let them being shot. They let them being hunted. And humans also are doing errors, but Sasquatch don't seem to be doing any error because they are not being captured on film, on infrared. And then another percentage of you say, oh, because Sasquatch can see infrared. And I can tell you that you guys don't know how infrared trail cameras work. Because infrared trail cameras have a sensor in the front that it's called a PIR sensor. And that PIR sensor does not rely on light. It does rely on difference of temperature. The PIR relies on differences of temperature in front of him. So when an animal, even during the night, has a slight different temperature than the surroundings, the sensor will capture that difference of temperature because they generate some kind of electrical field, and the sensor is activated, and then the LEDs of infrared turn on, and whether you are capturing video or capturing only photo, those flashes turn on and flash if it is a series of photos, or they turn on and they stay turned on if the camera is taking film footage. So in reality, Sasquatch have no means to see the light and to see the infrared light. So there's something going on there for them to spot the cameras, but that's only attesting that they have some supernatural wool capabilities that no other animal in this planet is able to do. because all of the other animals in this planet are being captured by gametrail cameras, even humans. So how can the scientific community continue to say that, and to say that people that support the woo stuff are loonies? So they are also loonies, because the establishment also sees, and their peers on the universities also sees people that supports and believe in Sasquatch to be loonies. So they are loonies, and they, by the way, being loonies, are also saying that we that support the woo stuff, we are loonies also. So we are all loonies. That's no problem. The only problem is that people, instead of gathering and trying to solve problems, they establish their own gardens, their own, I don't know how to tell these, but they establish their own beliefs, and they have some followers, and their followers actively defend the beliefs of their own and the peoples that they follow. And then we get groups that are antagonistic to each other, and that's just how the work how this planet runs. People doesn't seem to go along very well when their beliefs are questioned. But that's why we should not question beliefs, but we should question facts. And what I'm telling you guys here, and what I'm showing you guys, are the facts. So how many discovered mammals in the last centuries have been discovered? And that's an important question, because the scientific community and the ape-like the great ape theorists are always telling see how many animals are being discovered in the last century. So I can tell you guys, so we can see Smithsonian Magazine, for the first time in 35 years, a new carnivorous mammal species is discovered in the Americas. It's called the Orangutang. It's the size of a cat. 35 years. And the only mammal that they discovered the size of a cat, it's this one. And in the last century, I think there was a deer species in Cambodia, in Laos, and Vietnam, very rare, that was discovered with gametrail cameras. But it's very rare, and it reaches almost 100 kilograms. So is it 100 kilograms is like 200 pounds? And in the last century, animals like the okapi and the bonobo, that's a species of chimpanzee, were discovered, but in the beginning of the last century, like more than 100 years ago. Gorillas were discovered in more than 150 years ago. And when you speak with the native people about them, they knew that they were there. They were just not discovered by the Western world. And speaking about apes, there was an orangutan, a new species found in the last 10 years. And I see a lot of people using that one to justify the great ape relict hominid theory. And I'm going to tell you something new about that. It was not found in the last 10 years. It was found in 1937, in the last century, more than 70 years ago. But most people thought they were the regular orangutan species. But in the last 10 years, they run genetics on them. And when they run genetic studies, they found out that the genetics were quite different from the other two species. So they decided it was another, and it was a third species. But when they done the news, they write on the headlines that they found a new orangutan, like they were finding that for the first time, and it's not true. They are omitting the truth. They are partially telling you a story to justify their beliefs. So another big question is, some ape and relict hominid theorists say, some of them say, you are not seeing, like people like Dr. Jeff Meldrum saying it, I think. I never heard Dr. Jeff Meldrum speaking about cloaking, because cloaking, it's completely off the great ape theory, because it supports the woo. Cloaking, it's something seen in the scientific community as being woo stuff and being supernatural abilities. But because I can tell you, there is no mammal on this planet that can cloak. All animals on this planet, all mammals, not all animals, sorry, all mammals on this planet can they try to cloak themselves with the environment by using the patterns on their hair, on the fur, like zebras have stripes, like tigers have stripes, like leopards have spots. That's how they try to hide themselves. But they have, you cannot see any mammal actively changing color, actively changing their hair to cloak with the environment. And some of you can say, "Oh, but octopus." I have been asked before about this, but octopus, they have the ability to cloak themselves with the environment. And yes, but do you know what an octopus is? It's not a mammal. It's a mollusk. It's closer to a clam than to a human. You have also chameleons. Yes, they can change color, but they are reptiles. You can see fish changing colors, but they are fish. How many millions ago they diverged from our phylogenetic tree of mammals? How many millions ago they separated ourselves from us? There is no mammal on earth that can cloak, that have the ability that chameleons have, that octopuses have to cloak. They have special cells with chromatophores in each cell with pigments that they, in the case of octopus, they can contract the muscles, and they have some sacs with pigments, with yellow pigments, the red pigments, dark pigments, and they can squeeze the other sacs of pigment for the one they choose to be the bigger one. So they can do this for all their body, starting on the legs, so they can change color. It's an amazing ability, but you don't see any of those abilities in any mammal. Like I'm telling you guys, only octopuses, chameleons, so reptiles and fish can do this. To believe that a mammal, and mostly a great ape, would able to do this, that only by believing in this would be woo, very woo stuff in the scientific community. It would be a supernatural ability that no other mammal in this planet Earth is able to do. Sasquatch is doing. So don't think that the woo stuff is just mind speak and portals and being able to turn into orbs. No. The woo stuff is also cloaking. Cloaking is a big part of the woo. And if you guys know of any interview of that you saw Dr. Jeff Meldrum addressing that, I would like to see it, because I don't believe he's addressing that because he doesn't believe in the cloaking. But I think inside his mind, these questions are posing to him also, and he cannot find an answer. he have done a lot regarding the footprints, regarding the anatomy of the foot of the bipedal walk, but he reached the dead end. It's a dead end, and if we are not congregating our research into the woo, into the so many theories, we are not going to understand Sasquatch. So I presented you guys most of the facts. If you guys still think that Sasquatch is only a great ape, you can tell me on the comments why. If you are still not believing, if you are still thinking that I didn't address some issue, if I'm not correct, just tell me on the comments, okay? I hope this talk help you to change your beliefs, to change the way you think about Sasquatch, because we have to change the way, some people have to change the way we think about Sasquatch, and we should woo believers or great ape believers should find a common ground to move on. We have to move on together and not in polar and divergent ways. Okay, so thanks for watching and take care. Bye bye.